Hey, in this video we're gonna see how to play pre-flop and how to also play on the flop against weak players. So we have 6 tables. It's 3 phones, by the way, connected to my computer. So the phone on the left, we'll call it table 1. Actually it's 2 tables, as you can see. You can see the hands up there. Table 2, same story, there are 2 tables, and then with 3 there are 2 tables. So we have 6 tables actually, even though we see only 3 of them at one time. Jack 4 suited, please fold here. It seems like, oh, I have so little to put in to see the flop, and I want to see the flop because we want to see the flop, right? We want to see the flop and make hands. That's what I want to do. No, it's not what you want to do. There's something very important to understand at poker, is that every time you play a hand, you pay rake. Rake is you give to the website or to the club some money, that some of the money basically. So let's say that if you want to play the pot, you need to put 2.5. The club will take 10% of that, and so yeah, it's bad when you have a bad hand like this. You lose 10%. You're basically never gonna make money with this hand. Why do I say that? Because you have to imagine that if you play this hand 1,000 times, sometimes you're gonna make a flush, sometimes you're gonna make 2 pairs, sometimes you're gonna make nothing. Jack 4 suited was trash, right? So you're not gonna make a strong hand very often. You're most of the time gonna make a very weak hand, and on average, you're barely gonna win money. But remember that every time you see the flop, you give 10%. So overall, you lose money with this hand, and that's what happened to most of bad players. Is they're bleeding money because they want to play hands, they want to see the flop, they want to make some hands, and that's not what you need to do. You need to wait for strong hands and play them hard. That's the first thing I would say about online poker. It's different than tournament, because once you play tournament, when you play a hand, the casino doesn't take money from the hand. They don't take chips away. You pay the rake once you buy in the tournament. Cash game, you pay the rake every time you play a hand. So you want to be very selective and choose good hands to play. Second rule at poker is play good pre-flop. So we just talked about it a bit, but there's a lot more to it. You need to be able to play, first of all, you need to be able to select good hands, and then you need to play them right. So some hands you actually want to 3-bet, some hands you don't want to 3-bet. But there's also some villains. Villains is how we call the other players at poker. There's some villains that you want to 3-bet. There's some others that you don't want to 3-bet. This one, King 9 suited on the right, seems like I shouldn't 3-bet this hand. It's not good. This guy fold quite a lot against a 3-bet, so I'm gonna do it. This table, by the way, is Squid Game. It's very different. It's very special. So I'll not go too much into detail of what it is, but yeah. At 3-bet, in your 3-bet board, monotone board are not good for you. So we're gonna start with the check, and now we're just gonna go for it. I'm just gonna bet turn and river. If he has a better hand, that's cool, but I don't care. He has some jacks, but he also have pocket 5, pocket 6, pocket 7, pocket 8, pocket 9, even some ace high. So I'm just gonna bet 1/3. It's definitely good enough. The pot is huge. It's not getting big. It's already very big, and my hand is not that good. But it's Squid Game. Yeah, and unlucky was. So basically, what happened with Squid Game is I'm going to have to explain to you. Nah, let's forget. This table is different, basically. Don't worry about it. 6-2 in the middle, it will never be played, obviously. And King Queen on the left. We will play this hand. Now the question is, how are we going to play? So 6-2 now on the right. I'm playing it. Oh, I just said you need to fold it. Well, it's very different actually. On the left, I was in early position. There were 5 people on the left after me, left to talk. On the right, I'm in the button. There's only 2 people behind me, so I kind of want to play. King Queen on the left. This board is really bad for me. I have nothing. I can check, and if you bet, I would fold, or I can start betting. I don't have any preference on the flop. Now on the turn, once he check, I'm gonna bet turn and bet river, and try to make him fold ace high and low pairs. Not the best river, but in the meantime, I can make him fold a 7 and 8 now. So we're just gonna bet, obviously. If he call, let's go for him. I don't really care. The main thing is that when you bluff, you don't. It's not like your bluff has to work. That's not how it works. When you bluff, depending on how big you bet, how much you risk, usually your bluff only need to work like 30% of the time or 40% of the time. So your bluff never has to win all the time. There's a very famous quote at poker from what's his name? I forgot his name. He said, "If you're," I wanted to bet here, I had no time. He said, "If your bluff always work, it means you don't bluff enough," which is true. If when you bluff, people always fold, it's that you don't bluff enough. You need to bluff a lot more. You need to be comfortable with bluffing and people calling you, and that's just life. That's just how the game works. Ace-5 on the left. When I'm betting here, he has to fold only 20% of his hands because I'm risking 1.5 to win 7.5. He needs to call king high. He needs to go backdoor straight. A lot of shit. He chooses to raise, which is fine. I'm not gonna fold yet because what he's telling me he has a queen or a 9. Sure, but he can also have a lot of bluff. He can also have random shit that just wants to win the pot. So we're gonna call. Jack is kind of bad because when he was raising flop, he could raise with Jack 10, Jack 8, King Jack, things like that. So Jack is kind of good for him. So now if you bet, I'll just fold. If the turn was like a 2, I would keep calling. Now he bet pot. So when fish bet fast and when they bet mostly, actually no, it's mostly when they bet big, it's strong. And so you need to fold. You need to be careful. When you know that your opponent is strong, then don't fight him. Don't try to win the hand because he's strong. It's not going to work very well to bluff him when he's strong, right? And when he's weak, that's the moment where you want to fight and try to bluff him. So don't try to. A good poker player is not someone who win every hand or who win more hand than the others. Not at all. A good poker player is someone who plays good, and someone who plays good is what? It's someone who's running away when the opponent is strong and attacking when the opponent is weak. King 10 suited on the right. I can 3-bet, I can squeeze and I can call. Both are okay. There's a bad player in the hand. I kind of want to play against him. If I squeeze, I don't know. Seems like it's easier to play this way. When you don't know which option to take, which option is the best, try to take the option that is the less crazy. So here, going pre-flop, betting something like 15 to make them fold with this hand, I'm not sure. Calling, definitely fine. Going 15, I'm not sure. So let's just go. If I had ace queen suited, calling, not good. Raising, really good. He doesn't bet flop, but he bet turn. We're gonna fold. Ace 8, I'm not gonna start bluffing here. It's Squid Game, so it's different. Squid Game, people are gonna be a lot more stickier. They're not gonna be with me, and this is quite bad because this guy can still have ace king, so it's not a spot I'm gonna bluff. I'm gonna tank though, because if I tank, it's gonna look like I have something, and so maybe he's not gonna bluff anymore. Maybe sometime, and we won actually with this side, which is cool. So the idea with Squid Game is that look at my name. Fuck, I don't have I didn't win. Okay. When you win the hand, you have a squid like this, and 3 people have a squid here, and we are 3 people left without squid, and there are only 2 squid left. So we are 3 people fighting for the last 2 squids. The last player who doesn't have a squid has to give money to everyone. So you want to win. But here we're not gonna go all in, obviously. We're folding with pocket 5. King 4, there were 3 people, he bet half pot. I'm just gonna fold. We're just gonna look here because that's kind of interesting. Always try to look at your opponent's stats. This guy has pretty tight stats. It's not someone who play every hand. He play kind of passively. He only raised 10% of his hands. Only 3-bet 6%. It's someone who plays strong hand. It's someone who plays not enough weak hands, basically. So when he's showing strength, you know I'm just gonna run away. Remember, when your opponent is strong, run away. When he's weak, attack. Maybe he has pocket 7 or ace 7, basically. So it's the last squid available, and we are two players, so he doesn't have a squid yet. So everybody knows that we don't have a squid, so everybody knows that we're going to try to win the hands. And we're going to try to win it pre-flop already. I'm in the button, which is kind of nice, but if they fold already, it's really good because I don't get to pay money to everyone, and he will. Sadly, we get 3 bets, so we will fold. I'm not going to fold too fast, because if I fold too fast, I'm basically showing that I have nothing, and so they're not going to respect me. But if I'm tanking, it seems like I have something, and we're going to take a note on him because he did a New York back raise. So when he's limping early position, he can still have strong hands. For 3, we can call, we can fold. If he had a very small stack, I would always fold this hand because it's a hand that is only good if you want to make a straight or a flush. But if he does have a big stack, there's no much point. Okay, so the squid is over. I won my squid, and one phone doesn't want to work apparently. It's not out of battery, right? That's annoying. We're gonna fold 4-3 on the left. He's betting kind of big, and I'm gonna swap this and that. Yeah, sorry about that. Everything will be back very soon. Ace jack, we're going to squeeze against the limpers. We don't want many people to see the flop. We want to play heads up because that's the only way we can actually bluff. And if they fold, it's great. You want 4 chips basically super easily. And it might feel like it's nothing. 4 is not enough. I want to win big pot because that's what feels good. But that actually is not how you make money at poker. You make money at poker by playing few hands very aggressively, very strong. And you make money at poker by winning small pot. On average, a very good player wins from 2 to 8 blind every 100 hand. 100 hand is 1 hour and a half. So imagine a good player when he play 1 hour and a half. The best players in the world, after 1 hour and a half of playing, they get only 10 chips, 10 big blind. On average, obviously, sometimes you make a full house and you double up, and sometimes you lose your stack because you got a bad beat, but on average, you win, a very good player wins 2 to 5 or 2 to 10 blinds every 100 hand he plays. This is to show that every small pot are actually very important, because when you just don't take the little 2 big blind here and there, at the end of the day, it's going to be a lot. At the end of the year, it's going to be many buy-ins, thousands of buy-ins. For me, maybe thousands of buy-ins because I'm playing a lot. So every small pots are very important. We want to be a hunter. We want to wait in the shadow for good spots and then attack. Whenever you're not sure, whenever you think your opponent is strong, maybe it's not a good time to bluff. Ace 8, this is a good time to bluff because he doesn't bet turn. I have a flush draw. I'm gonna bet huge because if he call, this is the good thing. But if I bet really big here, it's gonna fold almost all the time, which is great because I want him to fold. But when I bet really big and he call, now I know he has a very strong hand because I bet 2 times the pot and he calls, so he must have a good hand. So now, when I make a flush on the river, well, I'm gonna be rich. because I'm going to be able to win a very big hand. And when I don't make a flush on the river, I'm not going to bluff anymore, because on the turn I bet 2 times the pot and he called me. So he definitely has a good hand. So he's not going to fold. Remember, when your opponent is strong, we don't try to win. When he's weak, we try to win. Pocket 4, he limped. What's the point raising with pocket 4? What you want to do with pocket 4 is to see the flop for as cheap as possible. Bet 3 to win 10, yeah, it's definitely fine. It's definitely a good move. So we're going to do it. We're going to call, see the flop. There's no 4. What are we going to do? We're going to fold. Small pockets player are really easy to play. Don't try to win pre-flop. You mostly win. You just want to see post-flop. You just want to see the flop. Sorry, it's a bit late. So anyway, this being said, I wish you guys good luck at the tables. Bye.